I'm here. Hey, what's up? Sorry, I had a little bit of episode and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it tonight, but I'm good. Everything's working and kicking now, so I am good. Thanks, Jim, for stopping in if you pop back in. Mike, I'm good. Just me and my body going around. Been a long week, so I figured it was going to happen. I hadn't had a bad one for a while, so I was due. And Latro, what's up? Hey, how you doing, man? Hope everybody's good. I hope everybody's hanging tight this weekend and having a good one. Hope everybody had fun last night in Gemma's oracles. I had a hard time leaving comment afterwards and doing timestamps. I'm typing into YouTube, but I can't see what I'm typing. But as soon as I click comment, you can see it. You just seen I had to like do it 3 times. I was just guessing, how to pause, but I got a hang of it for a little bit, at least long enough to put the timestamps in. Now it was weird because on our short, it let me leave a comment. I didn't have any problems, but when it comes to comments under the streams or in videos, I can't leave a comment because I can't see what I'm typing. It's weird. I have no idea what's going on. I tried to fix it. I thought it was me, but I can do it in any other chat. I can go to somewhere else and I can write on my computer and I can write in shorts. But when it came to leaving a comment, I just couldn't see what I was typing. No, if I hit click, like I said, if I click comment, it would show up. It was weird. And it's still happening. So if you don't see me say anything like I usually try to after the stream, that's why. And then hopefully I get it fixed or whatever it is that's going on. I'm going to have to complain to YouTube because that's just ridiculous not to be able to see what you're typing. But I'm good. We're going to do one of our, replays. Tonight it's going to be urban legends and then maybe something else. We'll start off with that. Yeah, I am. I'm happy, Mike. It just sometimes it catches up with me. Not much I can do about it. And like I said, it's been a long time since I had one. It's high level, running by the Space Force to see gamma radiation. Okay. Oh, you're talking about the drones? Okay. Now, there's all kinds of stuff going on with the drones. Tune in tomorrow night on UFO sightings and paranormal with Wayne and Michelle. She'll be on at 8 o'clock. They're going to be talking just about that stuff. So will be interesting. I have my theories too. Hi, Justin. How you doing? I had head-to-head migraine for a few years ago. Yeah, migraines suck. I used to get them when I was younger. I have Tourette's. Sometimes my body tends to go a little wackadoodle. It's hard to control. Screws up me talking and everything. It's fun. But, I've dealt with this since I was 2. So now as I get older, it gets a little harder. Catches me off guard sometimes, and that's what happened today. I was having a great day. Then, boom. But I'm good now. Took the emergency meds, which I don't like to take. Try to leave those things alone and only take them when I have to, where I had to. But yeah, I'm good. I'm a little better. If I get to talking a little goofy and stuff, just bear with me. Nothing normal, nothing out of the unusual anyway. So just a little more than usual, as usual. So yeah. But yeah, how's everybody doing tonight? Everybody having a good weekend? I know the drone stuff is driving everybody nuts and got everybody all stirred up, but that's the purpose of what they're doing. So, and I'll leave it at that. Like I said, I have my opinions too. I got people around looking at it to all different angles. I mean, you can think of everybody's probably pretty much said it. Your vitamin mix made you tired last night. They can do that sometimes. I think I hadn't had a big one for a while. Usually I have a big one. I used to have them like twice a month. Now it's like once a month, which is a good thing. But I hadn't had one for maybe a month and a half now, which is even better. So this one caught me off guard. And didn't last long. I think I caught it in time. If it would have been worse, then I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. Because even if I took my meds, it wouldn't have helped. It wouldn't have helped me in time. So I caught it in time. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on. These drone things. Like I said, watch Wayne and Michelle tomorrow. He talked about it today. I watched him today. And he was going, had a good stream about it. But yeah, watch UFO sightings. I'll post it. In fact, I should post the link. Hold on. Let me get that. Let me get that for you guys. So you can check her out. She'll be on at 8 o'clock. So yeah. Go check her out. She'll tell you what her Monday video is too. I'm pretty sure probably at the end of the night. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? See, he just posted it. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, why didn't you? Here we go. That's where she'll be at tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Here we go. You can put her the tag on it. Here we go. This is the tag on it. There you go. So go check her out tomorrow night. We'll be talking about drones. Everybody has a theory, I think. His stream today was pretty good. He delved into the articles and stuff. Yeah, Mike, behave. You're going to have Edna come in here because I'm sure she'll pop in. We say her name enough, she'll pop in. And Cindy Lee. I hope Cindy Lee comes in and says hello. And Vixen. And ladies. Michigan Rob. I did a video with Midwest talking about the sightings in the drones in Illinois. Wasn't up yet. Yeah, I think everybody's going to talk about it. It's going to be kind of obnoxious. I hate to say that. But now everybody's going to talk about it. Everybody is talking about it. I mean, that's the whole idea of it. It's a distraction. I think a lot of it is part of a distraction, but like I said, there is a lot going on that people just not clicking yet. But I think everybody pretty much did all the theories. Well, we'll see what they say tomorrow night. I'd like to keep mine. I think I said most of mine earlier today and in the past. So that's my theory. But, what do I? I'm just a good old boy. Good old high boy. I think some of it is, yeah. I think something big is about ready to happen. Let me put it that way. And that's all I'm going to say because I think I've made myself clear during his show and a couple other people's streams. Hey, Vixen, I was just saying, I hope you stopped in tonight. How are you tonight, dear? But yeah, I think everybody's going to have an opinion, and it's good because you need to get this solved because something's about ready to go down. It's just a matter of time now. It's all building up to something, folks. Excuse me. And then Vixen. Now we just get Cindy Lee and Edna here. Edna, where are you? I hope you're okay, girl. I got an email for her too. Not knocking you guys because it's always good to see you guys. Heck, you guys are the first ones in the room. And Justin, I do appreciate it. I didn't miss yours. I get a clinical on. Yes. Buns and needles. Yeah, it sucks. I know what you're talking about, Jay. Those were the old days. I get migraines now, but the more sinus migraines. Not like I used to when I was a kid. My tremors would get real bad and the migraines would kick in. I'd literally have to lay in a room, dark, no lights, no nothing. Nobody could touch me. I'd rock. That's how one of the reasons I think I rock. But I did that since I was 2. So anyways, Vixen, anything exciting yet going on for you? The time we got here, it's probably not even, we got 15 minutes before I started. that would come in. I hope, like I said, even those who, I don't know who's watching in the background, none of us, for those watching in the background, I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping in. We'll get the video going about 12:30. So if you're not interested in me, come back and watch the video. Yeah, like I said, it's 2 years. I think it's 3 years. But this video is 3 years old. It's about creepy urban legends, Phantom Rider, and Annie's Road. Oh, excuse me. And excuse me again. And Annie's Road. This should be a good one, and I'll probably do another one. I got a couple in mind. Rainwater, how are you tonight, dear? I hope you're a woman. I hope you're having a good night. I don't know why I assume that, but if you're not, forgive me. And if you're anything else, forgive me. Have a wonderful. I appreciate you coming every night and say hello. Throw up your hands. Appreciate that. It means a lot. It does. Nothing special. Yeah. I think I'm going to try to chill this week and just kind of work on the house. Been running around, going to funerals. I think I'm done for the day. Tomorrow I'm going to do a little bit of housework and just kind of concentrate on popping me and feed the birdies. Chill the old brain out. See what I can get done. Start our week off good. Yeah, Rainwater is special. I love the way she comes in, says hello. They come in, I should say. I'm assuming things. I get kind of a feminine vibe, that's why. But I appreciate it. It means a lot. It's always nice. It's almost like perfect timing every time, too. I have heavy stuff going on out here. Out of nowhere. I try not to mention. Oh, Mike, you're fine. You should get a reading from Gemma. I'm telling you, man. It'd be worth it. You never know. She might be able to help. I had some heavy stuff going on too, dude. And the passing of a friend kind of selling some demons that I hadn't kind of forgot about. He was he was the preacher man. He was kind of my guidance. But he's still here. He let me know he's still around already. So he knows when I get that back in the head. Hey, boy, wake up. That's probably what I'll do to my kids after I go. I don't want it in her head. She's got a lot going on, so might be okay. That's your choice, Mike. You're a good man. Have faith. Stay strong. Excuse me. And keep it steady, man. Stay steady. You know who you are and what you are. Stay strong. You're Mr. Behold. Stay that way. Endangered local island is planning to have a winter solstice. Oh, wow. Cool. That'd be cool. Hopefully the weather holds out for you and you can go. I know the weather's supposed to get kind of crazy, so I might be one of the reasons you may not get to go. You guys have been getting a lot of good weather up there. All on that east and northeast coast and states, getting a good share of a little bit of everything. Almost more than this. I was surprised we woke up the other day with a nice dusting of snow. It was nice. I wouldn't call it a snow day, but to me, it's got to be at least a half inch, an inch for it to call it a good snow. At least enough to sled on. So I know some places may be getting ice storms right now. So if you're out in the northwest, be careful. Mid-northwest, they're getting ice. They've been getting ice all day, I believe. My trigger is still good, so I'm happy. There you go. That's the way to keep it, Mike. Hey, man, we all go through it. Key is to stay as positive as we can. It's hard to, I know. I have my days too. But stay positive. Keep the faith. And if you're not a religious person, find faith in yourself. Well, remember, when you fall down, what do? You get back, shake it off. Get back up, shake it off, and move on. There's always bumps in the road. Once in a while, you get a nice smooth stretch, but something always comes along. Just hang tight. Keep moving. Last Sunday was our last real snow day. Now it's just chilly. I'm sure you'll get more snow. I'm sure. It's been chilly here. Actually, we're supposed to start warming up tomorrow. Now, I know, like I said, but it's also supposed to start raining tomorrow. So they said that we would go up to the 40s, almost 50s tomorrow. Then I believe, I have to go look again, but I believe the thing is Monday we go up to the 50s, maybe even the 60s, but it's supposed to rain. And we need the rain, so I'm not going to complain. Yeah, it kind of slows me out doing stuff when I can get outside and do work, but we need the rain, so I ain't going to complain. Then it's wintertime, you can get away with a little bit of a messy backyard. I still had some things to do, but right now I focus on the inside. No, seriously, Mike, just stay cool, Mike. You're Mr. Behold. Stay behold. You're good, Mike. And I appreciate you, too. You guys make my night. I mean, I almost didn't make it tonight, and I really wanted to be here. I like being here, especially on the midnight shows. Now, I may move Thursday to Wednesday nights because I want to go a little longer, and I feel bad because, see, I like Moggs and Stevie B, and I don't want to intrude on their time because I go and watch their show, too, and sit back and listen to them rap with everybody, and sometimes, so I don't like intruding. So I may move spooky time to Wednesday night at 8 o'clock and just go with the flow on that. And that way I don't have to rush off. That's a little bit of why I try to get off around 9:30. I don't want to tread too much on their time. I'm glad you're here. I don't know why I am, but I'm glad I'm here too. I love being here. This is therapy for me too. I have crystals out getting my full moon. Yes. I can't right now. It kind of got cloudy. I was thinking about putting mine out. I may check it out later and put them out. I may put them out anyways. A lot of times I do it before I go to bed if it's a full moon. But I do put mine out. My window is perfect because I can just open my blinds, set them on the windowsill. Sun smacks them right dead on. The moon will smack them too. I should say the moon smacks them dead on. This time of year, that moon comes straight in this window just right in front of me. I like to chill and relax on the stream. Yeah, I do too. This is why I like these. And the reason I like doing the Gemma replays is I can chat with you guys doing the upload, and it gives her a chance to, it gives us a chance, or her a chance, me a chance to show some of her older stuff that people don't go back and watch. A lot of people stumble on the channel, but they don't go back and watch the rest of the library. But this gives them a chance to come in and check them out, see her growth a little bit. It's good to see her, how she's grown over the years. And it gives me a chance to relax too. If I don't feel like saying a whole lot during the video, you guys can talk and wrap it up. Full moon isn't in peak until 4:30 this afternoon. I thought it was a nighttime moon. I don't know. I'm lost. But anyways, okay. Now I know what you said. That just, I get it. I get it now. I understand. Good. I'm not with it. But I'm starting to. I should have drank a cup of coffee. But yeah, I love these streams. They're fun streams. And it does. It gives me a chance to relax and watch you guys chat. And if, like I said, if I feel like just sitting here and watching and just kind of moderating you guys, that's what I do. And then on the spooky chat, I try to sneak some stories in. I usually pretty much just let you guys run the field, though. And hopefully we'll bring Tuesday Talks back after the holidays, which I think will happen. And she does have a video coming out Monday at 11. So come back on Monday at 11 a.m. Watch her premiere. She told me what it was, but I should have wrote it down. But I'm sure, like I said, she'll tell you tomorrow night on Wayne and Michelle's show. And I'll post a link again because that's at 8 o'clock. I even put it again. Yeah, I can. I'll try it. Also put it in the comments. If I can see the comments, if I can type C in the comment, I'll put them in the comments. I'm glitching again. Hate that. Yeah, here's the link for her interview tomorrow night with them. Here's that part. And let me I lost it again. Ding dong me. I thought I had the one on there. No, wrong one. Ding dong. I can't watch myself watching myself watching myself. There we go. There it is. Let me copy and paste. Yeah, I love the guy. I respect them both very much. I do watch their shows quite a bit. I don't think they know I'm in there when they're live because I don't say a whole lot. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I like to sit and watch just like everybody else, just kind of ghost. I was pretty active this afternoon, though. But yeah, they're one of my favorites. They're good people. Wayne and Michelle are good people. But yeah. That's my phrase tonight. But yeah, I don't know what it really is. Come on. Okay, there. My screen got screwy. Okay. But anything else going on, folks, other than her interview? So she's got her interview 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Then Monday's 11 o'clock premiere at 11 a.m. And then I'll be here. I'm thinking doing Wednesday instead of Thursday. What do you guys think? Do you think Wednesdays are cool? About 8 o'clock on Wednesdays? Go till 10 or so. That way I don't have to worry about treading on anybody. Because like I said, I do. I think a lot of Moggs and Stephen and Stevie B, I don't think they realize that I do watch them as much as I've watched them for a lot of reasons why I did this is because of them, at least because of Moggs. So I think it's cool. He just lets them come in and chat like we do here. That's why I do it. But I wanted to put a little bit more form to ours because of Gemma. Being on Gemma's channel should be a little bit about Gemma. So, but yeah, we'll start that next video here soon. I need to learn. I need to go and also start posting it on her comment section too. I keep forgetting to do that. I don't like messing with her YouTube, so that's another thing. Let's see, we good? Yeah, let's go ahead and start this video. If you guys are up for it, maybe Edna and everybody else will pop up when I start the video. And Vixen and everybody, Mike and Latro, if you're still around, and Jason. And we're going to start this video. Latro, Rainwater, if you're still watching, we're getting ready to start this video. This one's Urban Legends. Let me get it popped up here. If I can get it to come up. There we go. Come on. What is up, you guys? Oops, I don't want to do that. Okay. Let me get it into frame here. And present. There we go. Get her up here. There we go. And let me get out of the way there. Make her full picture. And folks, if you have problems with the sound,
what is up, you guys?
Let me know,
to my channel, and if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be discussing some creepy urban legends. Lately, both in the comment sections of my videos and also in the live streams I do every week, I've been seeing a lot of you guys asking questions about faceless drivers or phantom riders. This is the paranormal community, after all, so while these questions may seem strange to most, to me, it was a chance.
Hold on, guys, I'm screwing around.
On the surface, this sounds just as terrifying as I'm sure it is. Many of us have had at least one experience with the paranormal that has forever changed us, even if only in some small way.
You guys may have to turn it up.
If not, then we most likely know someone else who has had such an experience. There are so many different forms ghosts and spirits can take. The possibilities are almost
Yes, you may
limitless,
have to
with
turn
some
it up a
forms
tad
being
bit.
chosen way more than
There we
others.
go.
It honestly depends on your particular connection to spirit and really how able you are to receive these images. I found one or two glitch
Cool,
in the
thank you.
Matrix stories of faceless entities being seen driving cars or other vehicles, usually down some stretch of lonely road or unlit highway late at night or in the middle of it. I chose to keep these separate for my glitches in the Matrix videos I'll have out for you all very soon. So what brings us here today or tonight, wherever, whatever it is, wherever you are watching this video, I came across a pretty crazy urban legend of a phantom rider, and it made me want to tell a story that I know from my area that I grew up with. The legend from my area isn't that of a creepy rider, but I started to think about urban legends, and I think it'll give you guys the creeps. So I just couldn't resist bringing it to you all. Let's get started and jump right in. So, in my research, perhaps the most well known of these Phantom Rider tales, it seems from everything that I saw, is the one that took place in a quiet little town of about 1,500 people. At least that's how many were there when this was reported to have happened. The town is Elmore, Ohio, and it's in the United States. Many people who drive through this sleepy and unexciting little town wouldn't think twice about it and would probably forget about it altogether the second they were across the city limit. However, those of us who are familiar with Elmore's Phantom Rider may never forget it. It's said that in Elmore, along its pitch black and winding back roads, there is a mysterious headless phantom riding around. He rips around the roads on his motorcycle as fast as a phantom can and strikes terror and fear into the hearts of not only all who come across him, but all who traverse these unlit and desolate roads as well. Like many ghost stories and legends of old small towns, there's a very creepy backstory attached to the headless rider. As is usually the case too, there is more than one version of this background story, each more creepy and terrifying than the other, depending on who you ask. Most of them, though, share the same basic story about a soldier who had to go away to war and was overseas during World War One. This soldier had survived the blood, chaos, mess, and terror of this war and couldn't get home fast enough to his one true love. It was either his girlfriend or wife, depending again on who's doing the retelling. He somehow ends up on a motorcycle, which was either waiting for him at his parents' house or that he went to go and buy. Either way, it's late at night when he gets back, and he immediately hops on the motorcycle to go and pay a visit to his lady love. She lived not too far away. It was just across Mud Creek Bridge. He wanted to surprise her, so he turned the engine off and rolled the motorcycle up her driveway to either find her in the arms of another man or to find she thought him dead and already engaged or married to someone else. Either way, she didn't wait for him. The soldier, who was obviously crushed and devastated and even a bit angry, sped off in a rage, careening around while most likely crying on unpaved and winding roads with no lights. What could possibly go wrong? The soldier doesn't care, though, about how fast he's going or about any of the terrible conditions that he's driving in. Maybe he was trying to outrun his pain, or maybe he was even embracing the fact that he knew he was going to die. Or at the very least, maybe he was hoping to get some kind of traumatic brain injury and be able to be in
That's the
blissful
Cats
ignorance,
girls last week.
completely forgetting about this heartbreaking and earth-shattering betrayal. Of course, he lost control of the bike and crashed and launched over the bridge down to the ground below. He died on impact. The mangled body was later found to have been decapitated either from the crash, by barbed wire on a fence below, or by a wire that had been strung across the bridge as a malicious prank. Again, depending on the version. The main point is that he lost his head in the incident and would apparently never get it back, even in the afterlife. Ever since, it is said by the locals and those just passing through who have had the unfortunate luck of being on those roads on some lonely night, that he retraces the same route over and over again,
Everybody's different. Everybody's
looking for
into
his
their own
lost head. Maybe even trying to find his way
And
back
she
to the
looks
girl.
good.
There is a specific day when thrill seekers and paranormal
Yes, I know.
enthusiasts, not to mention, I'm sure, bored local high school kids with nothing better to do on that day, or perhaps any other random summer night, go out to that bridge and take that same route, just hoping to catch a glimpse of the headless phantom rider. On March 21st of every year, the small town is overrun with
My
tourists,
dad actually
as
thought
this
she was
is said to be the
Italian.
exact date as to when the soldier had his deadly accident. Who knows where this date comes from either? Was it added in there somewhere along the line to make the story more believable?
I love
Or
urban
was it
legends.
perhaps really the day in which a sad and angry man lost his life and died from being heartbroken and acting recklessly because of it? What do you guys think? Are any of you guys from this area? Maybe you can tell me more of the legend or how it was told to you or what happened. So, anyways, it's not like he just rides past and waves to people as they pass him, right? Because where would the fun be in retelling of that story? The legend has it, or the legends rather, that the encounter starts out as a bright, ghostly light at that farm that was said to be his parents' house where he left from on his motorcycle that night. Then the light transforms into the soldier and he takes off on his ghostly ride without even noticing he has a crowd of onlookers or even just a few young teens looking for a thrill that I mentioned before. He's said as well to blink out of existence once he hits the bridge and the exact spot where he was launched off his bike and into the ravine below. So basically, he's allegedly unaware of anyone or anything around him. Does he even know he's dead? Because this is a little bit rare for an actual spirit or
More like a
apparition. I mean, this
residual
is just the
haunting.
psychic in me. You guys, if you've been with me for a while, you know me. I have to question everything. Usually, when it's something unaware like that, it starts off as a light and just kind of repeats the same motion from the night of the accident or the death. However, especially if it's something that you don't see coming, like a motorcycle accident, that's usually just energy. That's not really a haunting, but it's an urban legend. So I'll let it slide this time, guys. On March 21st of every year, still to this day, you will find an entire crowd of people just waiting on that bridge. Some honk their horn to try to get his attention, others scream and holler at him to turn back as though this could somehow change his eventual fate that happened all those years ago. Other times, though, when there's
Yeah, it's
nothing
cold out
around
there,
to be
Mike. Right
seen,
tonight
when
with
the ghostly soldier is nowhere to be found, you'll hear people calling out to him,
there's some
trying to
icicles
coax
on
him
that
to come out of the house
mustache
and
or
get on his bike.
beard.
I can't
Is
even
the
imagine how freaking annoying it must be to the people who live where the parents' farm allegedly was located back when the soldier was alive. But as always, I digress. There have allegedly been several paranormal enthusiasts and investigators throughout the years who have gone searching for more answers as to not only if the legend of the rider itself is true, but if this soldier even ever existed at all. The place and legend itself has gained so much notoriety that it's taken on almost a life of its own. By far, the most well known investigation into this particular small town urban legend, or true story, whichever you want to call it, was undertaken by a man named Richard Gill, and it took place all the way back in 1969. On the night of March 21st, 1969, Gill and an associate made the trip to Mud Creek Bridge along with cameras and recording equipment, which I'm sure was quite primitive compared to today's standards of ghost hunting and catching technology. They had the intent to see the ghost rider for themselves. Apparently, though, they succeeded because Richard Gill reported that a spectral light made its way towards them and across the bridge before fading out. So excited were Richard and his crew that they attempted to summon the ghostly apparition again by doing the usual ritual in legends and tales such as this one. They honked their horn 3 times and blinked their headlights as well. They claim that before performing this ritual, they had put a string up all along the bridge and waited to see what would happen, if anything at all. According to Richard Gill and his crew, their little experiment worked, and the soldier appeared and once again took his ghostly ride, blinking out of existence right when he hit the part of the bridge where he died. The string was left untouched, despite them claiming to have seen with their own eyes the soldier's ghost ride right through where it was. The next phase of their little experiment involved Gill's friend standing in the middle of the road, after which they summoned the rider again. This time the light passed by, but was claimed to have knocked the man into a ditch to leave him badly shaken and disoriented with some bumps and bruises, but otherwise unharmed. This all sounds really awesome to us in this community, I'm sure. Like, if this really happened, they even had equipment to record these supposed events, and, well, unfortunately, the evidence they gathered seems to be inconclusive at best. Remember, it was 1969 and technology was nothing like it is now, not with recording equipment or anything else. The recording only shows a light that could really be literally anything. And the recording holds only a high pitched noise, which, while certainly eerie, is definitely not the proof that they were looking for or looking to like tell us this was the proof. Although the experiment cannot really be called a success and seems to be perhaps fairly exaggerated, Gill's research on the matter is often credited with keeping the Ghost Rider of Elmore from fading into obscurity. Other research on the phenomena has met with mixed results. For one, there seems to be no record of such an accident on the bridge during the claimed time frame, and it is unclear if the Mud Creek Bridge is really even where the incident occurred, if it ever occurred at all. So how can it be in debate where it occurred if nobody even knows if it occurred? This is why I can't stand urban legends, because I want to ask questions. Like, I want to know. So there's really so little, if anything at all, to confirm this story at all. And add to this the elements of it that they were saying, like the summoning the ghost through flashing lights, and one gets the strong impression that this is all a mere urban legend. But nevertheless, there are those who still insist they have seen the Phantom Rider of Elmore, and Richard Gill remains adamant that he did not make any of his story up, that like what he said his research found was true. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I definitely don't believe in the horn honking and light flashing being able to summon a spirit or energy, but I don't put anything past anything these days, to be honest. Between my own paranormal life and existence to the things I've seen and heard since I started investigating and searching for answers, both personally and professionally, I have to conclude that the legend itself is real, but extremely exaggerated throughout the years, like a game of Chinese telephone. You know the one. The Phantom Rider of Elmore isn't the only motorcycle riding specter to not have a head, and not by far. In fact, this seems to be a very common trait among men who have been said to have been in one accident or another, and for this reason or that, to have been seen riding around without their head in more stories and local legends than I could even count. Even without the motorcycle, this is a common trait. Do any of you guys have any urban legends of a headless rider in your town or state? I mean, a lot of the time it's a horse, right? I mean, I'm not just talking about the headless horseman, Ichabod Crane. I'm talking about like a lot of the times it's a motorcycle or a horse. So the terrifying legend that I grew up with is called Annie's Road, and I'm not really sure why. I think it was just the urban legend, and that was the first one I could think of. Um, it's a terrifying legend that I grew up with, and the locals will tell you that in the town of Totowa, New Jersey, which is less than 10 minutes from where I grew up and was born and mostly raised in the towns of Patterson and Clifton, there's a road that's haunted by a woman or a girl, depending on which version of the legend you choose to set store by. So this woman or girl had a tragic accident or incident, and she haunts that spot until this very day. The actual name of the road is Riverview Drive, and my church is actually located on that same road, believe it or not. I actually didn't know that fact until just now because I never knew the actual name of the road. I guess I really am a local here, as I honestly thought the name of the road was Annie's Road. How could I have known? Although, in all honesty, I should have. I guess my subconscious wanted to keep the magic of all of the times when I was little and was taken there for a scare, mainly by my Aunt Cindy and Uncle Bob, who used to always do fun stuff like that with us kids all the time. They were the cool aunt and uncle, you know? All right. Anyways, back to the legend. Now, while Annie isn't anywhere near the only ghost or apparition who is said to haunt this dark, isolated, and lonely stretch of back road, she is the one I'm going to be focusing on right now. As far back as the colonial days, people have been reporting strange lights and odd sounds coming from all over the darkest parts of this little road. Riverview Drive is really long and goes for miles and miles. Most of it's well lit and has pretty high traffic volume, but there's one stretch of about 4 to 5 miles which is said to be some kind of portal into perhaps another realm, the realm of the dead and the tragically deceased, apparently. As for the legends, it's said back in the 1960s, a couple was driving down the road in Totowa when they got into a huge fight, which led the man to open the car door and throw off his partner. Alone, scared, and injured, the woman began wandering the street only to be hit by a truck and die on the spot. Even after she died, though, her dress got tangled in the car and she was dragged along the road face down, which took her whole face off. Ever since the accident, it's said that unexplainable red stains appear on the road each year around the same date to mark Annie's death. Watch out, as she's looking for revenge, and she will stop at nothing once she spots her target. Many people report seeing her on the side of the road as if hitchhiking. Her apparition is so clear that many travelers believe she is real until she disappears right in front of their eyes. I literally remember driving through and looking for those red blood stains, until my dad, ever the skeptic, reminded me that if it happened so long ago, the road was probably repaved, and also, even back then, they cleaned crime scenes up better than that. Thanks, Dad. What I just told you is the legend that I always see on all of the haunted websites about the legend of Annie's Road. But I'll tell you what I heard growing up. I heard that there was a girl named Annie who, Carrie style, got invited to the prom by the most popular boy in school. She was what some kids would call, especially back in the 1960s, a nerd or a bookworm. He picked her up and she was dressed so beautifully. Her eyes were in awe as she stared at the young man standing next to her, not being able to believe her good luck that he had even noticed her, let alone asked her to the prom. Well, as she sat next to him, still staring at him as he was driving supposedly to the prom, he suddenly started laughing. 3 of his friends popped up from the back seat. They reeked like booze and cigarettes and had been hiding in the back seat the entire time. Remember how big back seats were back in the 1960s, right? They all pulled over and had their way with Annie. And when they were done, they threw her out of the vehicle and onto the side of the desolate and unlit road. Annie was terrified. She had been violated and her beautiful dress was ripped. She had no choice but to start walking and get out of the road where they left her. There's no shoulder or anything on this road. It's just like woodland and then road, which is kind of like my house here. She was in so much pain she could hardly walk. She wore glasses and could hardly see without them. And of course, they had been broken in the struggle and were nowhere around her as she felt for them in vain. She decided to walk the 4 to 5 miles into town to get some help. As she did this, though, she was so discombobulated that she stumbled into the road right as a huge 18-wheeler drove by. The truck smashed into her and her dress somehow got tangled because of all of the scraps that were hanging around because it had been so violently torn and ripped during her struggle and previous attack. The truck dragged her underneath it for almost a mile before finally stopping. You see, the driver was allegedly drunk and assumed he had hit a deer and was reluctant to stop either way, just in case he hadn't. When he looked underneath his truck, there she was, her lifeless body entangled in all of the hardware underneath it. One thing he really noticed, though, she was missing her head. It was never found either, and the legend I grew up hearing is that she roams around looking for her head, but also for the men who did that horrible thing to her all of these years ago. There's also the old tale with Annie where it said that if you go to just the right spot on Annie's road at midnight, stop your car and honk 3 times, Annie will appear in front of your car. She'll stand there bloody and headless in her tattered prom dress. If you are a good soul, she will just disappear and leave you alone. However, it's said that if you have bad intentions or are wicked on the inside, she will know and she will make sure your car doesn't start and attack you. Sometimes it's said that she looks for the relatives, the bloodline of the boys who did this to her. And it's even said sometimes that she appears inside your car and tries to gouge your eyes out, probably reminiscing of that fateful night way back when she thought her dream was coming true. That night when she was brutally assaulted and quite literally, she lost her head. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you enjoyed spending this time with me, hanging out, and hearing one of my favorite local legends, and also the legend of the Phantom Headless Rider. More to come on that. Do you guys like urban legends? I'm not sure. You guys ask about them a lot, but you never ask me to cover them. So I don't know. Some people think they're corny, but some can be really scary, but I need scary ones, okay? Please subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure your notification bell is turned on, please. Spread the love by sharing this video. If you would, please check out the description box. We have the interview with April Arrington, Justice for Caleb Smith. If you're not familiar with the case, please check that out and get familiar with it because we're going to have April back on. We have lots of awesome updates. And I know those of you who watch every one of my videos are
Okay, let me look for another video here. I'm going to see what Vixen says here real quick. 1 second here. Okay. We have a haunted road, a woman in white. If you don't stop to offer her help, you could be setting yourself up for a car accident. Some investigators think she may be a water element. Ooh. Water droplets appear inside the car. Ooh, interesting. If you know that story, send it to Gemma. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, we have a couple roads here, one down on campus and a couple other places. Pretty creepy. Some good stories come out of them. I'll probably talk about on Spooky Time. But yeah, that's Hilton Road is probably one of the most famous ones. But there are a few spooky places. Urban legends are crazy. How many of you guys get? I think there's probably an urban legend in every town. At least 2 of them in every town. That's like Crybaby Bridge, Crybaby Tunnel. There's Crybaby everywhere. Yeah, let me pull up another video here. And yeah, she does look like a pixie. When I first saw her, when I first started watching her, and before she started with Stockton, I thought she looked like a little elf. She kind of reminded me of a little elf. But she, she's my height, and I'm almost 6 foot. She also, so she, she'd be a tall elf. Yeah, let me get this little video up. I don't know why that happens. Every time I do that. Usually I have 2 of them lined up, and when I get done with the first one, it goes right back to the top. It screws me every time. Okay, we're getting to it. Okay. Here's the one I just did. That's the best way to find it. Okay, there it is. 2. Gonna find it here. I hate that because it throws me off every time I go back to get the other one ready. It's gone. Should be right in here. I should have it here shortly. Come on, where you at? Are you all ready to go? She's a good pixie. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And the road does not seem to have its share of accidents. And the road does have its share of accidents. Yeah, I was going to. It probably does. That's pretty wild. I always have questions about roads that have a lot of accidents because everybody says, oh, it's just a road and the way it's made. No, there's some roads that are very straight that have tons of accidents, and you got to wonder why. It's not. There's more to it than that. I know there's sections of highway that are, got bad reputations of, accidents happening, then people seeing accident victims, ghosts of accident victims walking the roads. Okay, 1 second. I think I'm close. I'm just going to have to start doing separate ones. That way I can just go right from one to the other instead of doing it this way. Dun, dun, dun. What the heck? Did I pass it? I must have. Go back here a minute. Yeah, I think I did pass it. How did I pass it? Anyways, give me a minute, folks. I think that's what I'm going to start doing is just lining them up. That way I can do them in separate boxes. Hey, Roger, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're well since this afternoon. You going to be there for Gemma tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on Wayne's channel? Wayne and Michelle's. Let's do this. Since I can't find the one I was looking for, we're going to do the strange and bizarre encounters with road trolls. Since we like them trolls. Let me make sure I get this. Whoa. Oh, this sound is so much better, too. Okay, stop. Thank you. Turn my sound down. Don't do an echo. There we go. And let's get this baby shared, and I'll get it blown up. Yeah, this is a good one, too, so let me get this set up. Yeah, I like the trolls. This is we're talking about Fae anyways. Let's do one about trolls. I was going to do another one about urban legends, but I couldn't find it. I'm going to go back and I think what I want to do is start setting them up in different boxes. That way I can just go from one to another, not waste time looking for the next video. Okay. There we go. Let me put it on full. Well, let me get it going first. I'm sure it's loud enough, so now you might want to watch your sound.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, just welcome. My name is GemmaJade, but today we are going to be discussing frightening encounters with the road troll. And by the end of this, you may not be convinced that that's what we're dealing with here, but that's what I thought the beauty of this was to see what you guys think is going on here. So without further ado, on this channel, I've covered so much of the strange, bizarre, and even the twisted, sick, and demonic. And just when I think I can't get any stranger or more terrifying, I come across something else that I simply cannot resist researching more into and bringing to your attention. As always, let me know if you find this interesting and if you like it, and I'll bring you more of it in the future. We've discussed encounters with truckers on the road and creepy trails from the Appalachian Trail. We've even discussed a race of ancient Fae who seem to congregate in one specific city in the United States. I've come across something today that I just had to look into. Trolls are something that I've almost always had an issue with as far as infestations, and a lot of the time when I was younger, I thought they were just a normal thing that everyone dealt with on a pretty regular basis. Obviously, I know now that that isn't the case, and since exploring the Fae and looking into them and their many realms and species, I know better. Since coming into this community, being a creator on this platform, I have come to know trolls as something altogether and entirely different. Either way, it's not a pleasant experience when dealing with them. I was looking for more encounters from truckers of the paranormal sort and came across something called road trolls. The more I dug into it, the deeper the rabbit hole became, and of course, I couldn't help myself. Driving along remote roads for long stretches of time can be somewhat surreal. I mean, picture it, just you and the road at all hours of the night, and sometimes seemingly nonstop darkness that one encounters when driving these remote and desolate places and roads. I tip my hat to truckers, and actually one of my biggest regrets is not taking a job like that when I had the chance. I think I would absolutely love it, maybe someday. However, after all of the paranormal encounters I've come across from truckers and other people out there in the dead of night just trying to work and make a living, I go back and forth with it. It just keeps getting weirder and weirder. There are just too many tales I've read and been told of things that come out of the seemingly endless abyss of darkness, and most, if not all of the time, it's unexplainable. At the risk of rambling just a little bit, I mean, imagine the horror, shock, and fear that would grip you if you were out there alone in the dead of the black of night, and something unknown and possibly evil crept out of that blackness and you couldn't explain it. Who would you run to? Where would you hide? Even more terrifying is the question, what could or would you possibly be able to do about it? How would you reconcile yourself to whatever it was? Keep these questions in mind as we go through these encounters, and as you sit and maybe close your eyes to possibly envision these encounters and imagine bearing witness to them firsthand. Here it is. I don't know how else to present this to you except to call it what it's supposed to be. Road trolls. Author Jerry Coleman wrote about this phenomenon extensively in his books, Strange Highways and More Strange Highways. And I read these books and I think they're amazing. I definitely recommend them if you get a chance to read them. This phenomenon is a rather odd one and only happens and comes up every so often. But when it does, it's just so terrifying because it deals with so many unknowns. There's report after report after report coming in of encounters with these hairy, troll-like creatures that allegedly prowl the world's highways, mostly and mainly seen by truckers in the dead of the night. And usually when they're so tired, all of the road seems to mesh together and the days and nights possibly do the same. The darkened and desolate highways of the southern and midwestern parts of the United States are especially prone to reports of these encounters. This bizarre creature is often described as hulking and hairy, a humanoid of some sort which is almost always dressed in disgustingly filthy and tattered old clothes. But the craziest and perhaps the most frightening is the fact that it always is said to have one wooden pegged leg, which makes it, because of the darkness of the night, seem like some sort of drifter, grifter, or hitchhiker who just isn't putting out his thumb. However, when the trucker or victim or witness, whatever it is you want to call them, gets close enough to realize that this is not a person at all, but some kind of monstrous creature. Again, I ask, what would you do? Let's have a look now at some of the encounters I came across and see how they reacted and what they did when they came across this mysterious beast/figure on the side of the dark and desolate roads of America. So There was a rash of sightings, and the first sightings to be reported were a part of this rash of sightings in 1981, though I'm sure, as I am with pretty much everything else I cover, that this was going on long before the written word and definitely long before the internet. A trucker from Effingham, Illinois named Gary Durbin was traveling through an extremely remote stretch of road which went through Tyson Mountain in Arkansas, which is located just east of the Ouachita National Forest, and he was headed to Chicago and carrying a load of chickens. I don't know if I pronounced Ouachita right, Ouachita. Correct me in the comments respectfully if I got it wrong. A lot of hairpin turns on even more unlit, dark country back roads. Even the highways were narrow and seemed to be unusually dark. However, it was on one of these desolate and black dark roads where he saw on the side of the road as he drove past a very hairy looking and very disheveled homeless man. Or so that's what it looked like to him at first glance. This peg-legged and dirty stranger was standing, looking lost and forlornly at the very edge of one of these aforementioned treacherous turns. Gary immediately thought to himself that the man must have a death wish, and also that it was a, quote, real mountain man, end quote, who probably didn't fear much, including being wrecked by a semi, because he was standing too close to the turn point on a dark hairpin turn road. While he found it strange and definitely thought the man was odd looking, he really didn't give it much thought. Not at first. A few miles down the road was a little truck stop where Gary pulled over and grabbed himself a cup of coffee before returning back to the road, which was now Highway I-55, so Interstate 55. He took the interstate into Missouri and stopped again for another cup of coffee at a little shop on the side of the road. As he pulled out of this rest area, he was absolutely shocked at what he saw. There, on the side of this road, hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, was the same peg-legged, hairy, and disheveled mountain man stranger with a death wish as he had seen way back there, at least a full state back away. He was a reasonable man and immediately thought to himself that this strange man must have hitched a ride. After all, there was no other reasonable or rational explanation as to how he had gotten so far ahead of Gary when he was walking without both legs, like he had a peg leg. I mean, there are so many reasons why, without the assumption of hitchhiking, that this didn't make any sense at all. Nevertheless, this made Gary so uncomfortable running into this mysterious and strange-looking stranger twice in one night that he tried desperately to put it out of his head. This would be no easy thing to do because over the stretch of the next few years, he would claim to see the same creature/man figure at least 5 times across multiple states: Texas, Arkansas, southern Missouri, northern Florida, and Mississippi. This is how he describes it all. Quote, he stands a good 6 feet to 6 foot 5 inches tall. His peg is just below his right knee, made of wood, it looks, always seen by the roads towards the evening, just past a rest area or truck stop leading towards the road, only moving his head a little. Very long hair and beard, light brown in color, covering his entire face, except the eyes. Old type clothes, ripped and torn. Seems like the same clothes every time. The creature carries a little hobo-type pouch with him always, end quote. According to author Jerry Coleman, many other truckers have seen the exact same entity all along and across the highways of the United States, mainly in the above-mentioned areas, but sometimes further east or west. In every single report, the description of the quote-unquote stranger is always exactly the same, almost never veering on any single small detail. He says in his book, quote, other drivers I interviewed admit to seeing peg leg as well. In a truck stop south of Dallas, Texas, one driver told me of a peg-legged man he saw next to an interstate split outside of St. Louis. Another truck driver interviewed in Atlanta swears he saw a peg-legged hairy man standing just a quarter mile from a way station in Florida. Is peg-leg a wild man, Bigfoot, road troll, a driver's road angel, or simply a traveling gent we've termed a hobo, end quote. In 1983, Jerry interviewed a woman only known as Barb from Des Plaines, Illinois, who told him all about a terrifying encounter she had had with the same figure/entity that we are calling the road troll and who Gary Durbin thought was a weird-looking mountain man/hitchhiker. Barb explained that she had traveled to Alabama by car to visit her sister and made it to her destination without incident. Once she got there, she and her sister decided to go to the mall in the area, which was located near a place called Green Pond on Interstate 20 and Interstate 59. And again, they traveled in their personal vehicle. Barb said on the way there, she and her sister saw there on the side of the highway, quote, a wild-looking man, end quote, who she described as being approximately 6 feet tall with long, stringy, and dirty hair that fell into into his face and nearly covered it. She described his clothes as looking as though, quote, a car had dragged him, end quote, and of course, the wooden peg right leg. She said, quote, the man or whatever it was just looked at us. A look of curiosity, I'd call it. We both agreed it had a wooden leg or walking stick in front of its leg. We were not sure. I felt guilty that we didn't call the police to check it out. After seeing the creature or whatever it was, it like totally changed our plans. We didn't go to the mall as planned. Instead, so shaken and concerned, we stopped at a nearby coffee shop and sat quietly composing ourselves, end quote. She would later say that the experience wasn't so much scary as it was strange. She felt so very strongly that this man/entity was some sort of harbinger of doom like the Mothman and was there to tell of some coming disaster or doom. She told Jerry Coleman in the interview that when they left for home, where they ended up arriving 3 hours earlier than they had planned to, they found that her sister, whom she had just visited, son, so she and her sister get back to her sister's house. This is worded a little weird. And they come to find that this Barb's nephew, so her sister's son, had fallen out of a tree and had broken his leg so severely that a piece of the bone was left sticking out of his skin and his pants. Ugh. The bleeding was profuse, and she immediately thought back to the encounter with the odd homeless hitchhiker and thought this is what he had been warning her of, possibly considering the peg leg. Pure speculation there on my part, but I'm thinking the kid broke his leg, the peg leg, I don't know. Because she and her sister had gotten home earlier than planned due to the ominous encounter with the hairy and bizarre stranger, they were able to rush him to the emergency room before possibly he bled out. In the winter of 1988, a trucker going by the handle Gunslinger was driving along Interstate 255, headed to Chicago, Illinois, hauling a load. When he was approximately 12 to 14 miles away from Alton, Illinois, he claims to have seen what he described as a hulking, hairy-looking man in unkempt clothes hobbling on a peg leg on the side of the road. The figure's appearance was so incredibly bizarre that Gunslinger felt the need to slow down his truck as he passed by to get a better look at the man/entity. This is when he realized it was all much more strange and bizarre than he had originally thought. He explains, quote, it stood well over 6 feet tall, maybe even 7 foot tall, long hair that covered its face and arms. The creature had a peg leg just below the right knee and was wearing very out-of-date, torn-up clothes. It didn't move until the truck got right up to it. I was going fairly slow and got an excellent look at it. I honestly didn't think it was real, but then it turned its head and looked my way. I'm not sure what I saw. Thoughts of a wild, weird creature quickly crossed my mind. I am sure it was no ordinary hitchhiking man, end quote. In the year 2000, there were at least 2 separate sightings of this hairy stranger reported. The first happened in March when a truck driver named Brad Royalty was driving outside of Big Cabin, Oklahoma, and he claims to have seen a huge peg-legged man with hair all over his body standing along Interstate 44 right outside the town limits. He said, quote, the thing was tall and hairy and had a wooden leg. I first thought it was a bum, but it freaked me out. It just stared at me, end quote. The second encounter was reported in the summer of that year by a man who would only call himself Doug and who was part of a trucker team with his unnamed wife, both claiming to have seen it in Boonville, Missouri. Doug said of the experience, quote, the man or whatever it was didn't even act like he was hitchhiking or doing anything. No vehicles were broken down within miles, and to be honest, it looked like a huge scarecrow. It had an artificial leg and a lot of hair, end quote. Sightings continued and were being reported at a pretty high rate. In June of 2003, a pastor named Jim Washington was driving to a church service in Tennessee when he saw what he described as a massive, hulking, hairy man with a peg leg limping along Interstate 181 just outside of Unicoi. Being a man of God, Pastor Jim decided that the man may be down on his luck and chose to turn and go back to see if he could offer him any assistance. But when he got back to the spot where he had seen the stranger, just a couple minutes later, the drifter seemed to have disappeared into thin air and was nowhere to be seen or found. Washington, who sincerely thought at first this was possibly a crippled homeless man, was startled to say the least and later said of it all, quote, I felt so sorry for him and wanted to help if I could, so I turned the car around. Although it took me only 2 or 3 minutes to get turned around, he was long gone. He was so wild and strange looking with an obvious disfigurement of the leg that I can't imagine anyone picking him up. I can't explain it, but he appeared lost, end quote. Jerry Coleman collected at least 11 sightings of the so-called road troll between 1981 and 2003 and spanning all across the 5 states of Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, Illinois, and Texas. It was seen other places too, but those were the main states. All of the witnesses who came forward, despite being completely independent of one another, described pretty much the exact same man or creature exactly the same way. The witnesses were for the most part considered to be reasonable and reliable people who weren't prone to telling tall tales of such things. So this begs the question, what in the world is it that these people had seen and witnessed? What are people getting a glimpse of when they come across this mysterious entity? Could it be just an oddly large, dirty, and crippled homeless man who traverses these particular highways and roads on a never-ending journey to who knows where? The places seem so far-flung, and it's rather odd to me indeed that almost all of the witnesses had described this quote-unquote person as, quote, not being human, end quote, in one way or another. Some people believe these witnesses have actually seen the big man himself. Bigfoot, I mean. But do I really need to explain why that doesn't make much sense? Okay, maybe it could be a bit of a trucker urban legend passed down from one generation to the next. But please keep in mind, we have a housewife and even a pastor, a man of God, who came forward with their encounters. What reason would those two have to perpetuate this type of legend? Jerry Coleman says it this way, quote, if one insists on sticking to their theory of drivers seeing road trolls due to hallucinations, then address this next question. How is it that even some short run drivers that have just begun their trip, which are well rested and drug tested, have seen and reported these road trolls? But more importantly, how would the skeptics explain away such cases as the mother of two headed to the mall or the pastor going to a church gathering, both who claim an encounter with a road troll? These latter are average citizens out on what they thought to be an average trip, end quote. He even posits that it could be some sort of mystical or mythical creature which serves as either a protector against or an omen of some sort of misfortune. Could this thing's appearance be purposeful? Could it be that perhaps the slowing down to catch a better look or speeding up to get away from it could each in its own way be some sort of catalyst for preventing one accident or another that was to befall the witness had they not come across this pathetic fellow? I mean, if I'm being honest here and knowing what I know about the Fae, trolls are Fae, guys, just saying, then I would say this makes the most sense to me because they always, they being the Fae, always have a purpose when showing themselves to humans. And the pastor's encounter where it wasn't there anymore when he went back to be of some sort of assistance to it lets me know that it isn't for anything nefarious or it would have struck then, wouldn't it? Jerry Coleman also says, quote, perhaps it is an unknown entity of our mind, an unexplained homo anomalous with little purpose, playing cosmic games, or with a lot of purpose, changing fate to those who see it. Does the witness think they are seeing something, thus stimulating or alerting these drivers back to reality where their minds may have drifted from the task at hand, or as in Barb in the pastor's case, an obvious detour in the direct path of travel, possibly delaying them and others, avoiding an accident, waiting around the next curve of changeable fate, end quote. And that's pretty much what I had stated, was that I believe that maybe like the slowing down when people stop to get a better look and they're like slowing down to stare at it, or people speeding up like, heck no, I want to get away from it. Is that changing the rate of speed at which they're traveling and therefore preventing some kind of future accident? I chose these cases not because they are the most believable, and in fact, I'll be the first to admit they're even somewhat obscure, but they're definitely interesting and they're not so well known. Whatever this thing is, it deserves to be looked at a bit more closely, and that's why I chose to bring it to your guys' attention. What is going on here? I love, and I know you guys do too, hearing about encounters from long-haul truckers all over the world, and I am currently looking into some more. It takes time because you guys know that I won't present anything to you at all, whether it be encounters or information or both, which I don't believe in 100%. So let me know in the comments what you think of this phenomenon. Is it down on his luck man? Is it perhaps a wounded and homeless veteran? A person with amnesia? Could it be Bigfoot or perhaps even the so-called missing link? Is it a fairy? Also, what purpose does it serve? Surely it isn't doomed to simply roam the highways and backroads of the United States in particular for all of eternity with no purpose whatsoever. Is there more than one, or is it ageless, perhaps even immortal? Again, is it a fairy? All of these questions and unfortunately no answers, but hey, at least we got some good encounters out of it. That's all I have for you today, guys. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Got to get those likes up, guys. And subscribe if you haven't already. Please spread the love by sharing this video. I'm trying to do better with getting to comments. I am so bad just because of who I am as a human being with checking emails and getting back to comments, but I'm
Yep, she does. She promises. I closed that next shirt. Oh, well. I mean, I could play one of the videos uploads from her that she did of truckers, but I can do that next week because she did do one of them truckers encounters. So maybe I'll do that next week. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves and relaxing. I don't know how much longer I'll go because we're pretty quiet tonight, and that's fine. Anybody got anything going on? Anybody want to talk about anything? I'll go till 2 at least. If not, I'll probably call it an early night. That's what this is all about. Not just about the replays, but you guys talking it up. So, but I believe those are trolls. I've heard truckers talk about road trolls before. Quite a few stories of them out there, but those are the stories you just don't hear a whole lot about. You don't hear a whole lot of Fae stories at all, really, which is interesting because, you know, unless you live up around the Appalachian Mountains or somewhere. I'm here for the bacon. Oh, that's right. Your shift changed. I've been reprogrammed. Well, good night, Mike. You have a good one. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate it a lot. Go have a good rest. Take care of yourself, sir. We'll see you on the flip side. Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow night for Gemma's interview. No, I'm sure Andrew does. I think he does have quite a few stories, in fact. I probably would put money on it. Now, most truckers that I've talked to, they have a whole crap load of them. And then I've talked to truckers, too, that have had not one incident. The majority of truckers I've talked to, probably, if I talk to 5 truckers, probably 4 of them have some kind of story. Yeah, I'm sure he does. And I think he sent a bunch of them to Gemma. In fact, I think in one of the trucker ones she did, she's got one of his. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. But I know he sent her stuff. And he's talked about it here in chat, too. So I hope he's safe. He's probably on the road. Have a good night, Mike. And hopefully see you on the flip side there, bud. Good night, Mr. Behold. And I do appreciate you hanging out. But yeah, I'm sure Andrew has stories. A lot of the guys that worked for Wonder Bread, when Dad was running as a mechanic, those guys always had a story. I don't think almost every one of them I talked to had some kind of creepy story. Oh, did he post some of the stories? He probably did. I think he did on Facebook a while back ago. But I also know he sent some to Gemma. He's talked about them here in chat on Fridays and in Tuesday talks when he's been around, when he's able to be around. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I would say truckers, ambulance drivers, firemen, policemen, hospitals. There's some of your best stories. Caretakers, nursing homes. Now, when I was in a nursing home at one time having work done, and they had to put me in a nursing home. I was supposed to be there for a month, but I didn't stay but 2 weeks. That's all I could deal with. I didn't like it there. I was uncomfortable. I was seeing stuff. And I'm telling you, the stories that patients told me there in the nursing home were some of the craziest ones. And then I always hear good stories at the hospital, either from nurses or doctors, from the crap I see in hospitals. I mean, you sit in a hospital long enough, you'll start seeing stuff. But yeah, and my brother was an ambulance. He was working to be, my oldest brother was going to be a paramedic. He didn't want to do that after, I guess. The story is he went on one of his last calls he went on. Took him by surprise, and a lot of weird stuff happened. Weird stuff, it wasn't just what happened at the accident, but other weird stuff happened afterwards. And he decided he didn't want to do that job. So he won't tell anybody what the details were, but I try to stay away from hospitals. Yeah. Well, nursing homes, I try to. That was just a fluke because I really didn't have nowhere to go after surgery, so that's where they took me. They didn't want me to go home by myself. As for the hospitals, I've done time in the hospitals. I don't like it. The only reason I don't mind going is I get a little chance to get babied, but it makes me uncomfortable. Yeah. And I can't stay away from them. They're kind of like a permanent fixture. Well, not as much as they used to be, thank God. But yeah, I mean, other than a couple of my doctors were actually in hospitals. I try to go to offices. It's not so bad at doctors' offices as it is at the hospitals. And nursing homes. I'll tell you, those 2 weeks I was there, I was just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I was seeing stuff. People were telling me things about that place, about what they see at night. And it's just creepy. But I can imagine my Uncle Jim, he was a Chillicothe police officer. I had asked him one day, so what's the weirdest thing you'd see? Because you don't even want to go there. That's all he said. You don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. But he goes like this. He goes, you don't want to go there, but there are things that officers see that they'll never talk about. Nobody would believe him, I guess. And I'm sure, Chris, Blue Crossroads, he'll tell you. I used to be in a hospital at least once a year. Most of the nurses called me. Yeah, that's my situation now for the last 7, 8. Dragon is, they all know me by name. It was funny. The last time I was in there, they were all calling me, hey, Mr. Davis, how you doing? It's like, dude, I don't like this. But they do. They know me by name, too. Sometimes it makes it a little easier, though, to deal with when they know your name and pretty much know what's going on. So when you have people that you've never met before and they call you by name, it's like, how do you know? I've never met you. Well, they always talk about you. I wonder why, because I tell them my stories of what I see in those damn places. That's one time I stayed. I was actually getting tests, and I was waiting for the MRI machine. And the nurses standing there, we got to talking, and we were telling each other stories. Dude, he was telling me the story how he had just one patient that he went to take down to an MRI, and apparently the patient asked why they were in the machine. And he said it was really weird because the guy running the machine turned it off. And he goes, why'd you turn it off? You weren't done. He goes, I'm done. He goes, why? He goes, I don't think they're alive anymore. And he points at the screen, and you can see this. They have a camera that watches you. And it was weird. He said that you see the guy laying there, but it looked like a shadow or something was like bouncing back and forth between the walls. And they both were freaking out. They called the orderly and the doctor, and they came down and checked them. They said they both left for the day. It freaked them out. So they don't know if that was the spirit trying to get out of the machine or was just confused. But when he told the story, that was like the last one he told me before I went in. He was white as a ghost. He didn't like talking about it, but he told me. I don't know if the magnets and the stuff inside the machine was messing with it. I don't know, but he said it was freaky because you had to see it to believe it. He says, now every time I come down here with somebody, I make sure they're younger patients. And I'm like, oh, you don't have to go into it, dude. I think my best stories come from people some of the freaky stories that I've heard come from people inside of diners in small towns and stuff. It's amazing what some of these people. Guy was telling me an old war story about how they were seeing stuff in the jungle and it was messing with them big time. Yeah, shadow peoples are everywhere in hospitals. It's not a good feeling sometimes. That's the thing. I would say hospitals are probably the most notorious place. And hospitals and mental hospitals were one of the most notorious places, as far as I'm concerned, of seeing shadow people. And I mean, they're like everywhere. So if you see that stuff on a daily basis, probably one of the last places you want to be. Yeah, so I don't think the only reason I deal with it is because I have to. It's not as much the shadow people that I see that bother me because I catch them quite a bit. It's what I see following people that usually disturb me the most. And that damn black-eyed kid I see in hospitals. So yeah. What's the creepiest thing you've seen, Black Dragon, in a hospital or anywhere? In fact, anybody that's still watching, what's the creepiest thing that they've ever seen? And I'm talking anywhere. I've seen a shadow person at work. It never bothered me. Really, at work. Now, when I worked for Airwaves, which was a textile printing, I made transfers. I think one of the old employees that passed before I started there, they said they used to see him walking around. I never did. But sometimes when you were in room and I was in the screen room, sometimes I felt like somebody was watching me, which was kind of creepy because there was no camera or anything. You know what I'm saying? It was just a weird feeling sometimes. But at work, if they don't bother you, you shouldn't just ignore it. But you probably know that already. Just try to make sure everything's good. What time we got? 1:30? But yeah, I'm just trying to keep a conversation alive. And we'll probably call it here pretty soon. I guess it's a pretty quiet night. Everybody getting ready for all this drone stuff. It's got everybody on kind of edge, I think. Everybody's more interested in that. Like I said, join Gemma tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, on Wayne and Michelle's channel, UFO, Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters. Creepiest thing I think I've seen was a white lady in a tree on my own property. Ooh, that is kind of creepy. Could you figure out why she was there? I mean, was it just something out of the blue? That's wild. Interesting. Was she all in white? Was she like a wedding dress? Could you tell? But yeah, catch Gemma tomorrow night. They're going to be talking about the drones. And if you didn't catch Wayne earlier today on Michigan Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters, they had a really good stream this afternoon. Said, missed it, go check it out. Everybody's talking about him though. So was it like this white lady? Was she in like a wedding dress? Was she on top of the tree or in the tree? That's what I'm trying to figure out. In a tree on my property. So she was in the tree? Was she just sitting in the tree? That's wild. I've seen crazy stuff in trees too, especially while camping. I swear this one night, camping. I don't know what it was, but we were pretty sure something was crawling around in the treetops watching us. We never got to see it, but you could hear it. And whatever it was big. But we never got to see it. We never saw any eyes or anything. But you could hear it. And it was, you could hear the top of the trees creak. It was creepy. We thought it was the wind at first, and it was like no wind. We all sat out. I don't think any of us slept that night. Out of the blue, not sure the style of dress, but I got in the feel. But I got in the feel it was on dress, kind of floating in the tree. Ooh, interesting. Wow. Was it just one time? Did it happen for like a couple of times, or just one time? That's wild. Maybe something came to tell you something. If it happened one time, maybe something was trying to give you a message. That's interesting. That one you need to write down. That's interesting. Just once. Right? If you can remember the whole thing, I'd write that down. Everything that went on before and after too. Maybe they were trying to maybe she was trying to tell you something. That's interesting. I always say when you have an experience like that, it's just one time, something is trying to tell you something. Or something's there it's there for a reason. Let's put it that way. That's like me and Edna keep seeing these cloaked figures. I know we're seeing them for a reason. I just can't figure it out. And we know that there are times that we see them and they see us. They tilt their head like they're confused that we're seeing them. So, yeah, if it's one time or you're seeing something you don't usually see, it's for a reason. It's usually for a reason. So, sit down one night and write everything down that you remember about that encounter. Something might be have tried to tell you something or warn you about something. Why in a tree? You never know. Weirder things have happened. Because I usually say experiences like that usually have a meaning to it. There's a purpose for it. Especially like the one-time events. I wonder if it was the trees. Oh, there you go. That actually could make sense, Vixen. Could have been. Dryad. I can never say it right. Is it Dryad? Dryad. Never told anyone about it. I was 16 when I saw it. Oh, really? Seriously, Black, I would write that encounter down. Anything that might have happened up until that point, and maybe something that may have had some kind of significance after, but write that down. If you can just kind of go over it, even going over in your head, there might have been a purpose for it for that one time. Then you could have seen one of them. And they're like an elemental, aren't they, Vixen? They're like guardians of the trees or something like that, right? I don't want to get it wrong. But there was a reason for it. Interesting. But see, I hear a lot of these one-time encounters. I always say to myself, it must mean something. There must be a significance for that person to be at that place at that time. It wasn't just always luck. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see these ghost videos where people go to visit haunted places and something happens. Nah, I kind of wonder about those. But there are times I've seen some of these videos where these people go to these places and see something, and I'm wondering, maybe they saw this for a reason. Yes, each tree has its own guardian. Okay, that's what I thought. I always felt comfortable in my woods, even at night. See, I do too. Even when we go to places I'm not known, who I've never been, or places I know that are creepy that we go to the camp, they don't bother me. And I'm more curious than anything. I mean, I'm surrounded by woods just a little ways from me. And they're pretty good woods. I mean, they go all the way up the river. And like a big forest, but I mean, there's enough there that you can get lost in there if you don't pay attention. And I'm not uncomfortable in there. I know people that go back there and jog, and they don't jog. They only do it a couple times and they stop. But there's also now homeless people that run along that river. So I get that too. But I've never felt uncomfortable. But when you're comfortable in the woods, maybe they were showing themselves. Maybe they knew you were comfortable there. Interesting. I like stories like that because it makes me think. Because like I said, I always think that stuff like that has a meaning to it. There was a reason for it. And someday out of the blue, it may show the reason may show itself. But yeah, I always feel that those kind of encounters do have some kind of purpose. But that's me. When people see one-time events, may even just to prove to them that there's stuff out there that there's stuff out there they just don't understand. Vixen, now that I'm older, I believe she was a tree spirit. It's highly possible. She showed herself to you because she knew you were comfortable. That might have been why she showed herself. And that has purpose. That has meaning. Interesting. It makes a lot of sense. It does. Who do we still got on here? We still got 8 people watching. Thank you, folks, for coming in. We're just wrapping, Got anything you'd like to talk about? Speak up. Right now we're talking about tree spirits, which I do believe in. I believe everything has a spirit or a guardian. Elementals. I think at one point I kind of used to think that jinn were elementals, and they are in a way. Actually, they are in a lot of ways. Think about it. The jinn are interesting because they were supposed to be here before we were even thought of, before the earth was even created. Everything holds energy. That is a fact. Everything does hold energy. We're all connected, even with the rocks and the stones and the dirt. People don't understand that. It's all connected. We're all connected. When one hurts, everything hurts. I don't think people understand that. That's why when you walk by somebody and all of a sudden feel sad, you don't always have to be an empath to have that happen. If that person's feeling down and really low or angry and you walk by them, sometimes you pick up on that without even having to be an empath. So we're all connected. All that energy is connected. Ancient energy is energy that has been here before humans. Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Most definitely. Where energy's never, this type of energy is just ever flowing. I would believe that too. In fact, I wouldn't doubt that one bit. Trees and rocks are record keepers. Check everything here. Yeah, I think I'm about ready to go for the night. Pretty quiet. You guys are talking. I hate to cut it short. But we'll be here Tuesday. I think I'm going to do it Wednesday night. If Gemma okays it, I'm going to switch Thursday night to Wednesday night. Hey, Ron, how you doing? We're about ready to call it a night. Got anything going on, sir? Yeah, right now, everything. Stones and rocks. Stones and rocks, same thing. But trees, something that they all hold memories. All plants do. I don't think people realize how much plants do. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good too. We're just chilling. We watched a couple uploads and we're just rapping. I was getting ready to call it when you walked in, so it's all right. We can hang out. I'm in no rush, really. I was going to try to do an all-nighter, but today early kind of took it out of me. I still plan on doing an all-nighter if I get enough people in here to keep it going. Not tonight. It's kind of quiet night, so we're just going to keep it quiet. Do a Gemma marathon. Maybe I'll do that next Saturday. That'd be fun. Just line up a bunch of videos and let them play and just let us talk. I don't know if she mind that or not. But everything's good. Everybody's hanging out. Actually, it's raining here right now. That's earlier. The video I was looking at the radar and I could hear it hit the window. I just didn't know how. But man, it's pouring out there. Now a little north of us is getting a little bit of ice. I know they were getting a little earlier out west of me, out in Indiana and all that. I can feel a lot of energy from the Grand Canyon. I was there years ago when my father took my family there. I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. Been by it a couple times, but we never got to go. Never got to go check it out. Have some bacon, Ron. Black Dragon's passing out the bacon. It's kind of quiet. I'm getting quiet. I don't want to have to. I'm giving too much dead air here. Jimmy's going to yell at me for all this dead air. But yeah, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Gemma, Michelle and Rain's channel, Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters, 8 o'clock. I got to put that link in here again. For those who are watching that come in, let me do that. I shouldn't have got rid of it so fast. And then she has a premiere Monday. I forgot the name. She'll beat me up for that, but that's all right. 11 o'clock, 11 a.m., Monday morning, she's got a premiere. I believe it's about a murder case. And then I will be here either Wednesday or Thursday. I haven't decided yet. I may go to Wednesdays so I can hang out longer because I have people I like to watch too on Thursday night. And go. There's it is. That's where she's going to be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Do this too. I didn't even click it in yet. I'm screwing up here. Hold on. Go. Do this first. And then I'll do this. There we go. And then we'll be here. I'll be here the Wednesday or Thursday. Then Gemma on Friday for oracles. Please be here 7 o'clock, 7:30. 7. She's been starting early. She's been starting about 7. So show up early if you can. And usually 7:15 is good, but she's been starting early. Friday nights, and then I should be here Friday night, next Saturday night. I think I'm gonna line up some good ones, do them separate, and that way I'm not pausing to look for the next video because I keep losing it. And we're just gonna hang out all night next weekend. I'll hang out as long as everybody hangs out with me. Like I said, it's been a pretty quiet night tonight, so I'm not gonna push it. What are they? They're gonna be talking about the drones tomorrow night, Riley, Ron. Sir. So they're going to be talking about the drones And I guess that's probably pretty much it, since that seems to be the big topic. So, yeah, that's what they'll be talking about tomorrow night. And like I said, he did a pretty good stream earlier today. So, if you want to go check out his stream from earlier today, it was pretty good. And that's Michigan Sightings and UFOs. You probably know him already. So, Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters. That's to Gemma's. That's for the interview tomorrow night. But you click on that if you're not subscribed, and you subscribe down below it. A good channel. Ron, Michelle and Wayne are good folks. I do too, Ron. I believe it's all military. I think you like to be called Riley, so I want to try to remember to call you Riley. But yeah, I believe it's a little bit of everything. There's a lot going on. I think some of it's a distraction too, but there's a lot of funky stuff going on. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I already have checked their channel. They're good people. They're good. They're a good channel. One of my favorites. Wayne and Michelle are good folk, man. And they've had their share of encounters too. So, yeah, when it comes to UFOs and Bigfoot and all that. So, yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. They're definitely worth the watch. And he's big UFO. They're both, I believe, big UFO folks. And Gemma loves going on that show. They have such a good time there. She has a good time on the show. This is your favorite channel? Well, you know what I mean. I mean, this, of course, Gemma is my favorite channel. She keeps me busy. But it's just one of my favorite channels to check out. And it's nice because Browndorf is now doing streams. I mean, he does streams anyways, but I mean, an actual like stream was kind of fun. His first one was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah, she's done quite a few interviews for him, Riley. She has a lot. Like I said, she has a lot of fun over there. And like I said, you couldn't have more fun with a bunch of good people. So, yeah. Sometimes I think she bums out because she could wish that she could be there and make them longer, but you know. I think they get on time frame too because you know they'll both of them are teachers. So yeah, that will be fun. And it'll be interesting to hear what else he comes up with because he had some pretty good views today on the drone. So we'll see how everybody concludes out tomorrow. And Gemma definitely has her views on these. So Browndorf has got his own channel. You should go check him out, Black Dragon. Sir. He does a lot of shorts. But he is streaming. There's a lot of stuff. He lives pretty close to the coast. So over there in California, man, he's got all kinds of good videos of sightings and some walkabouts looking for Bigfoot and stuff. But he actually streamed sitting in the room and having an actual stream for the first time was pretty nice. His like test stream, it was fun. He had a good crowd. It was nice to see. A lot of different info out there. A lot. Yeah, it's pretty much you're going to have to, in a situation like this, we all know you pretty much have to go with the best sources you got and come to your own conclusions until it shows itself. Personally, I think we're just ramping up for something big. Something big's about ready to happen. And everybody's putting their little things in order here. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say misinformation, because you can't even say misinformation. There's some information out there that is pretty obvious. That's BS. But in most part, there's a lot going on. And I think people are missing the fact that, you know, people are seeing UFOs too during this. And people are calling some of these UFO drones and some of the drones UFOs. So that's making it even more confusing. Because I saw a gentleman showing videos the other day. And some of the things he was showing were not drones. They were definitely UFOs. Or UAPs, whatever you prefer to call them. So, people are going to have to start distinguishing the difference between the two. Which is interesting. Now, I believe Mr. MBB333 had a video today where he was actually playing conversations with a bunch of pilots out on the west coast out of Oregon, pilots talking about what they were seeing with UFOs, and they were coming back and forth. And you'd have to go to the channel and listen, but it was pretty interesting. Very interesting. Apparently, these things were hitting hypersonic speed. I've never seen a drone hit hypersonic speed, so. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Riley. The Iranian mothership is kind of a crock. That's one of the things I kind of giggled at. But I'll tell you this. And some of the ones that are being seen in other countries and stuff, and here, I believe on the West Coast, they've actually seen these things going into the water. So I don't think those are drones they're seeing out there. No, they don't. And these guys, these pilots were talking about these things moving like at hypersonic speed. I mean, he said these things were booked. All the pilots that were talking, because it was like about 4 or 5 of them talking to a tower and trying to figure out what these things were. And they were all saying, man, they were moving like a hypersonic speed. You saw a huge one? Really? Wouldn't surprise me. So this is what bothers me is there are people out there now confusing the drones with UFOs and UFOs with drones. And that kind of, this is the one thing I find kind of interesting is how all this perked right up after they had the UFO, another set of those UFO disclosure hearings. Then all of a sudden all this happens. And a bunch of other stuff is going down. So this all ties together. We're all leading to something big. It usually does. Now, will it be a red flag? But something is coming. They got, let's just say they in control, have their arms up in the air, flying around, trying to distract everybody or something. I don't know. But what's going on with the drones is just insane. So far, I hadn't heard anyone mentioning any sounds coming from this outside. Now, most people said they've been silent, but there are some videos where you hear that drone kind of hum that comes off of them. I've seen videos like that where you can hear that. But I think a lot of times you can't hear them because they're so high up. They're higher than they look. And I don't think people realize that. Yes, I totally agree with you, Riley. I am really trying to stick to Riley because I think you said you like Riley. Excuse me. Yeah, I think it's a number of things, but I think counterintelligence is probably a big part of it. They're definitely, somebody said there were times when it looked like they were definitely looking for something. So I've heard they were spraying stuff, that they've been seen spraying, that these things were spraying stuff. People complain about burning eyes and headaches. So now, see, what's funny is Gemma didn't realize they were that close to her. I told her, I said, no, hon, because I thought that was all down south, like South Jersey and along, the islands. And I'm like, no, hon, that's all in northern Jersey, along that river from you to Wayne County. And I said, you're right there in the midst of it all. So And she's got a Lily going over, and she lives out in the country. I mean, if you're going to do stuff like that, that'd be the place to do it. That'd be like going in northern New York, you know. It's what's weird is you would figure they'd see more of them in like New York at night in the city, but they're staying out in the country, out in the suburbs. So something's up. And they even suggest to be shooting those things down ignorant. You have no idea what you're shooting at. Don't do it. Just don't do it. There was a theory about people stealing nuclear material drones and looking for them. People don't. That's possible too, but who knows? There were 17 drones last November over the military. Yes, I do know about that. You know, Trump lives there too. Trump has property there too, and I believe he owns a golf course there too. So a lot of people think that's got something to do with it. Whatever's going to happen, I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen before he swears in or takes office. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't happen before then, or not much after. So, yeah. But keep all that conversation for tomorrow night, because they really need all this conversation. It'll be interesting to see you guys, because tomorrow night, I'm just going to sit back and watch what everybody says. I was a little more involved earlier today, but tomorrow I'm just going to watch, keep my mouth shut, and listen to everybody else, because that's what I've been basically doing on this. And I'm getting my intel too. So, and just trying to piece together my views. This is going to get interesting. You know, people say this is strange times. It's going to get weirder. It's going to get a lot weirder. This is nothing compared probably to what's coming. So just be prepared, people. It may take a little longer, but it's coming. FAA can trace civilian drones, but that tells you something right there. And did you know there were people that when there was more than like 3 or 4 up in the air, the other drones, they would try to send their drones up to look at them, and either their battery would instantly die as soon as they get close to them, or they would lose control of the drone and they would crash. And then I watched one video where the people couldn't even, there was like 3 of them above them, and they were trying to get their drone to go up to look at them, and they couldn't even get it off the ground. The battery would instantly die, and they'd put a new battery in and it would instantly die. Or it wouldn't come. And then when they finally grabbed the other drone he had and tried to get it to take off, they got about that high off the air and just came right back down, and they couldn't get it up after that. So they've got some kind of signal or something that they're using against drones, against them. You know, it's like that. There's a video of an officer trying to follow a drone. I think even Wayne showed it. They were trying to follow drones with theirs, and they couldn't even pick them up on their drone cameras, on the cameras, or even with their infrared. So that tells you something. But yeah, let's leave that conversation for tomorrow night. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. I think I might. I think I will. You guys have a wonderful night. Keep the conversation active for tomorrow night, because this will be a good conversation for them tomorrow night. And do check them out tomorrow night. Also, please, Gemma could use the donations to help with the channels and stuff. So please, if you can, give. All the links are in the chat, in the description, and on the screen. I want everybody to have a wonderful day tomorrow, and hope to see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And if I don't see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I will see you Monday morning for her premiere. Hopefully she gives the name, because I didn't write it down. Much love to you all. Thank you all for so much for hanging with me and watching uploads and coming in. And like I said, I'll let you guys know if I'll stream Wednesday night or Thursday night. I'd like to do it on Wednesday nights. That way I can hang out with you guys. I don't feel like I'm treading on friends. Well, I don't know if they're friends, but people I like, their time. But we'll see. I'll probably still do it on Thursday and move it the next week. So just keep an eye out. I will see you on the flip side. Sweet dreams to you all and to Vixen and to everybody. I'm just rambling now. Much love. And I'll see you guys.